Operation Epic Fury.
President Trump just said Iran's power plants could vanish in a small part of an afternoon. And he said it after oil dropped lower than before the operation. So think about that. The regime media screamed catastrophe. Democrats pushed the usual gas price panic. They got humiliated. Trump boxed Tehran in, crushed the fake Hormuz hysteria, and now he's telling the Ayatollahs flat out, we're going to win one way or the other. Then the cameras rolled at Khomeini's funeral, and the whole rotten picture snapped into focus. Death to America in the streets. A Target hit list with President Trump on it and an ex-Elizabeth Warren staffer cheering it all on. You need to see how all of it fits together because it matters, because Trump just proved something every American family felt in their wallet during the Biden years. Weakness costs money. Strength cuts the price of panic off at the knees. Trump said oil now sits lower on a barrel basis than before the operation, lower. After the media cartel and every Democrat doom peddler tried to sell you another Middle East price shock. Well, they lied again, and Trump didn't trigger the catastrophe. He blocked it, and he did more than that. He stripped Iran of leverage. He made it crystal clear there will be no nuclear weapon, period. His words were brutal because reality's brutal. Make the right deal or America can finish the job, and it won't be tough. That protects American families from terror, from another energy squeeze, and from paying later in blood, because weak men in Washington gave Tehran another fake diplomatic lifeline. Then comes the domestic rot. While Iranians scream death to America, Calla Walsh, a former Elizabeth Warren staffer, flew to Tehran and glorified Khomeini. That's not edgy activism. Calla Walsh sided with America's enemies. And when a regime can lose its leverage in an afternoon, ask yourself how secure your own money is if it only exists on a screen. Everyone cheers AI in the cloud until a bank hack hits. Code locks your account and your savings get frozen by a keystroke. Noble Gold Investments gives you something real, physical gold and silver, a coin you can hold, a bar you can stack, wealth that doesn't live on a server and can't be erased by code. You can even place physical gold in a tax-advantaged retirement account or get metal shipped to your door. Go to nextnewsgold.com, mention my name, and claim a free 10-ounce U.S. Independence silver bar when you open a new qualified account. In dangerous times, owning something America can't lose with one cyber hit. And now here's the detail that should make every DHS official sit bolt upright. Yes, this was not just a funeral crowd blowing off steam. Khomeini supporters held up a Target-style hit list that included President Trump and Laura Loomer. Not hidden, not whispered, displayed publicly. And while that happened, an American left-leaning activist stood in Tehran and called Khomeini the greatest anti-imperialist leader of her lifetime. And I'm going to show you the posts and let you see the receipts for yourself, because once you watch the chants, the signs, and the names, nobody gets to play dumb anymore. Here's President Trump in the Oval Office just a few hours ago. Oil is now on a level.
Oil is now at a level that it was, I think it's even lower on a barrel basis than it was before we started. We've gotten concessions. Now, they have to hold those concessions, but there'll be no nuclear weapon. We're going to be getting the, as I call it, dust, the enriched material, nuclear dust, I call it. Seems to have taken off, but it's enriched material. We're getting it. We're getting it. I went in for one reason, very strongly, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm not looking for regime change, although this is regime change. The first regime is gone. The second regime is gone. And I think the third regime is more reasonable, but we'll find out. But we've destroyed their, as you know, completely destroyed 150. They had 159 ships. Every single ship is at the bottom of the sea. We've completely destroyed. They don't have one airplane. They don't have radar. You know, one of the reasons we kept the oil down, because a lot of people said, Kevin, and a lot of people were saying that oil could go to $300, $350 a barrel. But one of the reasons that prediction wasn't right is we were taking out on average of 10, but sometimes less, sometimes more. 3 weeks ago, we had a night, 22 ships came out of the Strait, and the famous Strait of Hormuz, nobody ever heard of, but it is a That is some big money machine, I'll tell you what. When you look at the numbers, Michael, that makes everything look small. No, wait. And we took out so much oil that people didn't know, and it was only took a month and a half. They finally found out they had no radar because their radar was destroyed. So we took them out late at night with no lights or no nothing. And our great Navy, which did the greatest blockade anyone's ever seen, not one ship got through in 2 months. And we then freed up the blockade because we're close to maybe making a deal. I don't know. We'll make either. Look, we're going to win one way or the other. We're either going to make a deal or we're going to finish the job. Okay? And it won't be tough to finish the job. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to affect 91 million people. We can knock down their bridges in 1 hour. We can knock out their energy supply, all of those big plants that they built, big, beautiful, modern plants. They had a lot of money. They don't have any money now. We haven't given them any money. But we can knock out their electricity and power generating plants in, I would say, a small part of an afternoon. Every plant will be gone. And they know that. They know that.
So Trump crushing the media's oil doom story, making it clear. Now here's the part that really lands, his warning that America is ready to wipe out their infrastructure in a small part of the afternoon.
We're going to win one way or the other. We're either going to make a deal or we're going to finish the job, okay? And it won't be tough to finish the job. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to affect 91 million people. We can knock down their bridges in 1 hour. We can knock out their energy supply, all of those big plants that they built, big, beautiful, modern plants. They had a lot of money. They don't have any money now. We haven't given them any money. But we can knock out their electricity and power generating plants in, I would say, a small part of an afternoon. Every plant.
So that's a hard edge. Trump's message: deal or the job gets finished fast. Next, he drives home why Tehran suddenly wants to talk so badly.
Out their Navy, their Air Force, their radar, their leaders. We wiped out everybody. And then I heard they're doing very well. No, they're not doing well at all. They want to make a deal so badly. But we'll see what happens. They have to make the right deal because they cannot have a nuclear weapon. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple.
So after the force came the leverage. Now the hatred on the ground is still on full display, with Khomeini supporters holding target posters that include President Trump. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is absolutely crazy. Khomeini supporters held up photos with a target list at his funeral, including President Trump and Laura Loomer.
We have some targets here for you. Do you approve? Oh, this one.
Look at that. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson.
We have some targets here for you. Do you approve? Oh, this one.
Oh, so the images tell you who we're dealing with next. The funeral itself chanting death to America and death to Israel in the open.
آقا جان در هر نفسی بر تو درود است و سلام است بر قاتل تو زندگی و خواب حرام است برخاسته و منتقم خون تو هستی تشییع تو ای خامنه ای عین قیام است مرگ بر آمریکا زندانی دام می شود اسرائیل سرکوب قیام می شود اسرائیل.
I guess they haven't learned yet. So it's not just signs. The crowd is saying it out loud. Now Fox brings in some street-level threats, with mourners vowing revenge against the U.S. and Israel on camera.
Every single one of these people will continue down his path with clenched fists, and soon we will certainly avenge his death against the U.S. and Israel. We will stand and fight for this country as long as we are alive and until the last drop of blood. We won't let even an inch of this soil be taken away. We are not here to say goodbye to him. We are here for revenge, and we will take revenge.
My God. So that's the regime mindset in plain English: revenge, blood, and threats. Shifting back home, one former Elizabeth Warren staffer wasn't condemning any of it. She was praising Khomeini and calling for America to be dismantled. Former Elizabeth Warren staffer who called for the U.S. to be abolished as justice for Khomeini attended his funeral and called him one of the greatest leaders of her lifetime. There she is with Elizabeth Warren, and the text from Calla Walsh: the only real justice for Imam Khomeini and for all the martyrs will be the total and complete dismantling of the U.S. and Israel. Anything less is capitulation. Well, the Patriots back strength against Tehran. The radical left keeps showing you its true colors. Next, the same activists in Iran chanting death to America herself.
I'm from the United States. Mark bar America, Mark bar America.
Wow. Unbelievable. So it wasn't some edgy post from a keyboard warrior. She flew across the world and said it on camera. Now we tie it directly to the Democrat machine with her past as an Elizabeth Warren staffer, front and center. Right Angle News Network, former Democrat staffer for Elizabeth Warren, Calla Walsh, attends Ayatollah Khomeini's funeral, declaring him to be the greatest leader of her life.
He was a leader to all people of the world who struggle against imperialism, against arrogance, against Zionism, against genocide. To me, he was the greatest anti-imperialist leader to have lived during my lifetime.
Wow. The connection matters because the anti-American poison isn't staying overseas. It's got friends in U.S. politics. Next, she goes further, praising the so-called axis of resistance and chanting against Israel and America.
Glory to all the martyrs, glory to the axis of resistance. May we see victory within our lifetimes. Marg bar America, Marg bar Israel.
Thank you, Calla.
Wow. So after all that, one more look at the rotten side of the Republican Guard. Laura Loomer now turns the spotlight on Mitch McConnell with a blunt question about Elaine Chao's trip to China. A high-level source told me Mitch McConnell is officially brain dead and machines are keeping him alive. But he is a vegetable and he's never coming back, so why is Elaine Chao in China instead of by his side? Is she a CCP spy? How does the wife of one of the most powerful U.S. senators just travel to China? Is she coming back from China? Who's she meeting with? Will she be the one to pull the plug? And that's the talk right now. A new high-level source close to the White House says McConnell is officially brain dead and he is not coming back. So the moral center of the story lands in one obscene image. A former Elizabeth Warren staffer, Calla Walsh, standing with the enemies of the United States after posting that the total and complete dismantling of the U.S. would be justice for Khomeini. And she hailed him as the greatest anti-imperialist leader of her lifetime. Yeah, Calla Walsh, that's her name. Elizabeth Warren's former staffer. She didn't drift into policy disagreement. She crossed the line and planted her flag with a regime whose crowd screamed death to America while supporters flashed a target list with President Trump's name on it. That's the left when the mask slips. They don't just hate Trump, they cheer the forces that want America broken, bloodied, and erased. So President Trump has Iran cornered. That's the headline, not the media fantasy, not the Democrat panic script. Trump said we're going to win one way or the other. And every new detail backs him up. Oil dropped instead of spiking. Tehran wants a deal badly instead of dictating terms. The regime's funeral mobs reminding the world exactly what they are by chanting death to America in the open. And Calla Walsh reminded the country that the anti-American fringe inside our own border still treats open allegiance to our enemies like a fashion statement. DHS needs to slam the door on foreign regime cheerleaders. Every platform still laundering this filth as activism needs to get named and shamed. Every American watching this needs to decide whether we reward strength or crawl back to the weakness that fed this monster in the first place. So drop a comment if you back Trump finishing this on American terms, and share this clip so nobody can pretend that they missed the chance. And I don't want you to miss the news either. Make sure you text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963 and join the thousands and thousands of Americans who are already on the inside track with the Next News Network. And make sure you're celebrating all the wins with the Next News Network by going to the merch shelf below this video or shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.